We start with our Newsmaker segment and welcome the Governor of Kansas, Sam Brownback. First elected in 2010, Governor Brownback is now in the second year of his second term. Before his election as governor, he served in the U.S. House and the U.S. Senate, and before that as the state's agriculture secretary. The governor's administration has been, to say the least, controversial. We'll ask the governor about the battles over the budget, school finance, the Kansas Supreme Court, the state of conservatism in the Sunflower State, and his take on Donald Trump's takeover of the National Republican Party. It is a pleasure indeed to introduce and welcome Kansas Governor Sam Brownback. It is good to see you again, sir.
Good to see you, Mike. It's been a number of years that I've known and been around you at different capacities that you've been in, so it's great to be back here with you.
Thank you. It's good to see you. I think the first interview we did together was at a time when you were the Agriculture Secretary in Kansas.
Yeah, that's going on 30 years ago now.
I thought it was about 5. Well, let's talk about Tuesday's primaries. A number of incumbents in Johnson County especially who supported you lost to more moderate Republican candidates, and some analysts are saying this is a repudiation of your policies. Do you agree with that?
I don't think it's that, but I think it is a lack of us getting out there the information. I mean, if you look, I think if you analyze what really went on, the core issue was school funding. That most people would say this is about the issue of school funding. And then if you'd ask most people, well, what's happened to K-12 funding in Kansas during the Brownback administration? Most people would say, well, it's probably gone down 5 to 15%. When the truth of the matter is it's gone up by 8%. And that was a central issue 2 years ago, you may remember, on my reelection effort about what's happened to school funding. I'm talking about state funding. Now, federal money's gone down, but state funding in total during the time period I've been in office has gone up. And that, by looking at the flyers, you would have thought, oh gosh,
well,
it's all been
ruined. Are these school districts that talk about a lack of money just imagining that they don't have enough money to operate?
They would have to speak for themselves, and each year
But you say there's
cost,
more money now going to K-12 education
from the state of Kansas, than there has been when I started in office. It's about 8% up. Now they would say, look, we've got cost increases, it costs more for teachers to be in schools, we've got all these burdens going up, and Mike, a portion of that has gone into increasing our pension system. About a third of it's in the pension system. But we were in the bankruptcies on our pension system, and now we're middle of the pack and have really, I think, got a healing pension system. But I think there's just been, and the media has participated a lot in this misinformation, particularly here in the Kansas City area. The Kansas City Star has beat on me endlessly for the last 6 years. But I would hope people would start putting actual facts out there, and that would be a very helpful thing in the debate.
But you did cut taxes.
We did.
And that apparently has not generated the revenues that you expected, and that has caused a problem in several areas, has it not?
We have a problem, but it's not that. You look at what's taken place in the state of Kansas. Last year we had a terrible revenue year. It was an awful revenue year. But when you analyze it as well, Missouri just cut back their amount of money that they went to the schools, to higher education, $150 million. Didn't make the Kansas City Star. I don't know if you saw that or not. Oklahoma
I couldn't see it if it wasn't in there.
Oklahoma had $1 billion budget deficit. It's been agriculture and oil and gas have been the primary problems, because we've dropped, corn prices went from $7 a bushel to $3. Oil went from, our guys were getting 80-some a barrel to 20-some. Now, that isn't to say that there aren't issues, and we have adjusted this tax plan 2 times since we did the big cut.
Well, it appears that a number of these people who are likely to be elected in November would like to see a change in the income tax structure, a return to the way it was before. If that movement begins, what will be your response? Will you be accepting of that, or will you veto it if it is passed by the legislature?
We'll see what they put forward. We've already adjusted it twice.
Well, you raised the sales tax.
And income taxes. So they've been adjusted twice. And the other thing I think is interesting to follow, Mike, we didn't do anything on corporate income taxes in Kansas. Nothing. It is the exact same today as it was when I took office. Corporate income is one of the places we're seeing the biggest drop. And it's not people shifting to LLCs because the number there is very small. So what's going on there? I mean, you've got a global situation.
I hear from people, though, who complain that there are what, 300,000 people in Kansas who pay no taxes.
Yes. We've got both lower income individuals that we've taken off the tax roll and small businesses we've taken off. Do they also tell you that we've got a record number of new small businesses in Kansas?
I've read that, yes I have.
And have you seen that for the first time in 18 years we've reversed the revenue flow from Kansas to Missouri? For 18 years continuously, we had money moving from Kansas to Missouri. Last 2 years, it's moved back the other way. Well, we're winning the battle for Kansas City, which is critical for us.
But S&P has reduced the credit rating twice, once very recently. That's not a good sign, is it?
They're not a good
strong
sign.
Economy?
And again, I go back to agriculture and oil and gas, which if you look at Kansas historically, it's been a three-legged stool, and those are two of the legs.
So do we just wait until those two sectors improve to see any kind of change in Kansas' economy for the better?
No, but also look at where it is getting better, and it's in the Kansas City area. We are substantially growing in this region, and this is one of the key things. What for us, long-term, the battle for Kansas City is critical. That we've got to grow here, and this is where our key growth is taking place. And you know what a lot of that is? It's small businesses that are growing in this area. And we've got wage growth taking place in this region. That's why really that small business tax cut, I would hope maybe you'd do a whole program on it and really dig into, now what is actually happening with this? Because that's been the controversial piece.
Looking at the Kansas City area, what about the American Royal and a potential move to Kansas City, Kansas? You're supportive of that, are you not?
Very supportive of that.
Do you think it's going to happen?
I do.
You do?
Think, yeah, and the American Royal, this is one of the great historic stock shows in America. And I'm an old ag guy, so I love this stuff a lot. But it's one of the great in the world. And we're now selling a fair amount of genetics globally from the state of Kansas, certainly from the United States. And so we think we can build a lot around that first-class stock show and build a lot of the agricultural genetics industry pieces, some of it around.
We don't have a lot of time, so let me get some quick answers, quick questions. The state Supreme Court likely to rule again on school finance. The state Supreme Court has not been kind to your positions on school finance, the legislature's position. If the court rules again, as I suspect it will, that there's not enough money being spent on education, K-12 education in Kansas, and it's $500 to $800 million more, where does that come from?
I don't know.
Do you have to obey the state Supreme Court's directive?
Last two times it's been about equalization.
All right, this is about adequacy, though.
Right, and equalization, both times I and the legislature have stepped up and addressed that, saying that this is a legitimate issue. The adequacy piece, there is a lot of concern about, is that really the role of the courts to determine that piece of it, that is inherently a legislative determination to be made. And a $500 to $800 million is a substantial property or tax increase somewhere to come up with those resources.
Would you have a case, though, for ignoring a Supreme Court order or defying a Supreme Court order?
That's something.
You're an attorney.
Yeah, but many years ago. Let's see when that comes up, because that's been the threat for some time. And the court, as you may recall, in Kansas has been in education for 40 years. Been running the system.
Well, I've often said that the battles with the state Supreme Court are not unique to the Brownback administration. They've gone on for as long as I can remember. There are 4 former governors openly critical of you, 2 Republicans and 2 Democrats. What do you make of that?
They all share a pretty similar set of views of growing taxes.
It's uncommon, though, for a former chief executive of a state to criticize the person in office, and now we have 4 people doing that.
I think that it is unusual, but they do all share pretty much, they're pro-choice. They share a view of the need to grow the size of government. I think we need to grow the population and the basis of Kansas and the economy. We actually had in-migration of people this last census, where we'd been getting out-migration.
Let me wrap this up by asking you something I think is interesting. You are criticized quite often. 4 former governors. The Docking Institute at Fort Hays has a study that says only 15% of voters approve of your work. One study says you're the most unpopular governor in the United States. How do you react to that? How do you feel? Does it make you feel bad, or do you just simply say, hey, that goes with the game, I've had it before, I've had praise, I've had criticism, I can deal with both?
Well, I'd rather not have it.
Well,
but I think you got to then break it down and say, okay, what is it that's what am I being criticized for? And when you break it down, it's primarily K-12 funding is the issue. But is there, and I would ask you, and really actually dig the facts up. You get people on this show, actually ask them what has happened in total to K-12 funding. And it's gone up.
Well, we had your Director of Revenue, Secretary of Revenue on the program talking about it.
Yeah, so, and then they say, okay, we don't like the tax plan. All right, what I really don't like is I don't like small business not being taxed. Do you want small business to grow? Yes. Are they? Yes. You're seeing major moves, particularly here in Kansas City, of small businesses to the Kansas side. So I don't like it, but when you parse it and you break it down, a lot of it's media-driven and very negative from the media.
I hate to do it, but I got to jump in and stop our conversation. It's great to see you again. Thanks very much. Mike. Maybe you can come back another time and we can talk more and in more detail.
Happy to do it, Mike.
All right. That is Kansas Governor Sam Brownback. Now let's meet our first group of panelists and start a ruckus.